everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore and longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Ierulli is here with us, along with former Alcoa basketball standout Dwayne Easter. Tennessee puts a wrap on the regular season, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will fill us in on the latest high school basketball tournament scores, and we'll follow up with the top national sports news. Marcus Fitzsimmons will be on board to update us on what's happening in local sports, and we'll cover the teams and individuals who are making a mark. Today, Marcus has Heritage High School baseball on the agenda, along with SESI girls flag football. And I'll jump in and talk some UT basketball and then follow up and break down the SEC standings in today's schedule. We're happy you're with us, and so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Donnie Moore, this is an exciting good morning, first of all, to everybody. Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports page. And, Donnie, this is an exciting part of the year. You know, we've got conference tournaments going on right now, and then the NCAA basketball tournament. Always a lot of excitement there, and then you got the Masters golf tournament that heads in there, and then a few weeks later you got the Kentucky Derby that comes up, and
you got NASCAR going.
You got the NASCAR going, and a few weeks after you got baseball season getting ready to fire up, and a few weeks after that it all tops off at the end of May with the Indianapolis 500.
Yes,
I tell you what, there's not a better time sports-wise to live in America than right now if you're a sports enthusiast. And I always look forward to that. And the Masters golf tournament, is in there. So
I do too, Mike.
I got a little bit of let her rip this morning, and I don't want to let her rip too bad, but I'm on the Lady Vols a little bit this morning.
Oh my goodness!
I'm
Let's see what's happening here.
I'm searching for some answers here. Hey, this past Thursday, the Lady Vols exited the SEC tournament by losing to Vanderbilt 84-76. It was the Lady Vols' third loss in the last 4 games. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for the Lady Vols and Kim Caldwell, but a host of close games against highly ranked teams and a huge win against Connecticut had the program on a much higher plateau. Loyal Lady Vol faithful could see some solid movement back toward the days of Pat Head's summit. But now, a sweep by Vandy for the first time in program history and a lopsided loss to Kentucky have these same faithful scratching their heads, along with us, and wondering what is going on to this team that should be peaking right now for a strong run in tournament play. Donnie Moore, what's going on with the Lady Vols? Before you answer that question, I got one other thing.
All right.
It's been a rough year against rivals for Tennessee basketball.
Yes, it has.
7 games between the men and women, between Vanderbilt and Kentucky. The men and women have a sterling record of 6 losses and 1 win. The only win out of those rival games this basketball season between the two programs is that close victory at home against Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So, Donnie,
that's true. You know,
what's going on?
I wish I could tell you. It's just one of those things, you know, that I think, first of all, in men's and women's basketball both, the SEC is just extremely strong. Top to bottom. And commentators will tell you that this is probably the best basketball league ever.
Yeah.
And you know, that's arguable, of course, because there have been some great leagues in the past. But I have no doubt but what this league isn't extremely strong from top to bottom. So I'd say that's probably the most determining factor of anything right there. And a team that's supposed to be on the rebound and rebuilding, like you said. You know, it's with a new coach. They're going to struggle from time to time, and the Lady Vols have.
Well, you know, going into the season, I mean, they really exceeded expectations early in the year.
They did.
Right.
But
I think they've kind of settled down to they are what they are.
They've leveled out.
Yeah, and you know, and they've got capabilities of playing a great game, but overall, this is the first year of the rebuilding part of the program.
Yes. Yeah.
They've exceeded expectations, especially early in the year, but now they've kind of settled.
The problem with that, Tony, is that once you create this monster and start winning, people forget about those preseason predictions.
Oh, I know.
I go back to
do.
my junior year in college. We lost all of practically our whole lineup from the NIT squad the year before.
Yeah.
Of course, the NIT back in those
That
days,
was the
it was a big tournament.
that was the big
It
one.
was a really big tournament because the NCAA didn't take very many, so we were honored to go to that. But I was coming back, and Lloyd Richardson were the only two players that we had coming back, and it was supposed to be a total rebuild. And next thing you know, we're fighting for an SEC championship. Went right down to the last game.
Yeah.
We lost to Kentucky by 1 point, tied for the championship. But as you went along here and won games, people forgot all about the.
Sure.
Hey, we only had 2 players coming back. And you create that monster. But Marcus, it seems like the Lady Vols too seem to have that quarter. That one quarter where they just don't play very well, and then gets down to the fourth quarter, they're playing catch up. Huh?
They do have a drop in intensity, and I think it's been more pronounced the last 2 weeks as they've dropped some games. And, this is something you bring up a lot with Coach Barnes in the way he emphasizes defense. But I think you've got that same kind of fatigue factor with the way the Lady Vols are playing and that style of play. Even though they do a lot of rotation, they're at the end of the season. Their break was weeks ago. I think that you might see this team bounce back a little bit in the postseason once they because they're going to get basically 2 weeks off to get their legs back under them. Yeah. I think they're going to come out much better in the NCAA tournament than what we saw at the end of the SEC tournament, which would be a nice change because if you think about it, the big knock on our previous coach was they played a fairly good or strong SEC regular season, did a good job in the SEC tournament, and then when we got to the NCAA tournament, they were just pooped.
Yeah. Well, they blew out Texas A&M 77-37, and then of course lost to Vanderbilt 84-76. But they were probably going to get South Carolina and Dwayne Eastern next, so that wasn't going to be an easy chore. So if you look at it that way, maybe they would have gotten another win there, but doubtful maybe against a great South Carolina team.
Very doubtful, but like I say, might be a good time for them to rest up some. They do go in and out a lot, but when they're in there, they're really going at it, So maybe that will be a good thing, what Marcus was talking about, to give them some rest.
Yeah, Tony Ierulli, they're not probably going to get a real good seed. What do you think, 8 or 9?
Yeah, somewhere in the middle of the pack.
I heard 9 or 12, something.
Probably at least
so that's not going to be an easy deal right there.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, because they'll be playing against good competition from the very, very beginning and all. Yeah. But like I said, and I agree that it just seems like they just kind of wore out as the season.
Yeah. Right down toward the end.
Toward the end, they kind of end up being what everyone kind of expected during. Before the season started, then they had that great first half of the season, and then because remember at a time, we had both men's and women's were both number 1 at one time.
Yeah, they weren't expecting much at the first of the season, but then they kind of took off.
Yeah,
so.
We all got on the train.
Yeah, we're riding that train.
Riding that train right down to the end.
The good old days are back.
Yeah, now we're back at the caboose. We're at the very end.
Yeah. Donnie Moore, the Vol baseball team continues to roll.
They do, Mike. I'm telling you, Tony.
Still undefeated.
Tony Vitello has this team clicking right now, and we talked about this earlier. They haven't played a tremendous bunch of opponents yet. Their schedule's been kind of light at the beginning of the year.
A lot of home games in there.
Yeah, but that's the way it's meant to be, to get you prepared for this grueling SEC schedule.
Yeah, and that's right around the corner.
It is.
Yeah, they beat one last night, I think, 12-0 or something like that.
Yeah,
St. Bonaventure, and it was a 5 pitcher threw a no hitter.
Well, they're bringing they're bringing these Eastern teams down here, and they haven't even had a practice session yet because the snow hadn't melted.
That's right. The
snow hadn't melted.
This is the first time they come on down. And then they play in Tennessee.
They come down here and they play, and it's 35 degrees out there, and they're going, boy, we got a great day for baseball because it's 0 up here in the east.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're off to a great start. And the Lady Vol softball team, you know, they started SEC play yesterday and got a big win over Georgia. And they play today at 2 o'clock and at 2 o'clock tomorrow against Georgia. And Tennessee plays St. Bonaventure today at 6 and tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Hey, let's talk some Tennessee basketball. Dwayne, Easter it's sort of been a mixed bag this week.
Yeah.
You know, we had the real high against Alabama. You know, Meshack hit the shot there from about 40 feet.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Has trouble hitting shots all night long underneath the basket. And hadn't had a really good offensive year, but just the guy you want taking the shot right there at the end of the game throws up a 35 or 40 footer.
That was from the second in Tennessee across midcourt.
I'm just sitting there watching the game, and it leaves his hand. You know, you can tell when a shot's going in.
He was on the summit, wasn't he? He's standing right on the.
Yeah,
man, that's a heck of a long shot.
And then everybody's jumping around, and he's just going, had it all the way, boys. Had it all the way. Like Ollie and Hoosiers.
But the thing was,
that's it.
When you look at where Alabama was on the court, he was open.
He was open.
Like they didn't even make a token effort to come out and put a hand in his face.
No one was guarding him. No one in his face.
Then they're trying to call timeout, aren't they, Tennessee?
Well, Coach Barnes was. Thankfully, they didn't hear it.
Yeah.
But
that certainly was exciting.
But, you know, the closest Alabama defender was 10 feet away. And, he put a hand up, but I doubt he even saw it. I mean, that's just not the way you defend on that last second play. You don't let a guy get a wide open look. I don't care if he's 40 feet back. You see game winners all the time. You don't just leave them open.
Yeah, you give them a little defense. You don't foul.
Yeah, but look, this was Meshack taking a shot out there. That that wasn't Milicic or it wasn't Ziegler. And
well, you can ask Lady Vols about a post hitting a game winner outside the 3-point line.
Well, and plus before Alabama just really kind of broke down before that shot because they had a 5-second call against them that the turnover.
I got the whole list right here, Tony. They just said we really don't want it. We really don't want the game here. You all take it.
Did I steal one of your notes? I'm sorry.
Miss free throws. Miss free throws.
Yeah.
Failure to pull the rebound on a free throw that the Vols had right there at the end. Vols got the rebound and capitalized on the deal. Meshack makes 2 free throws. He was fouled, and so that warmed him up for the 35-footer of the free throw. And then they gave up the drives and 2 points drive to Lanier. Then they had a turnover, and then they failed to get the ball in bounds down on the far end, which it just came within a hair of being on the rip it up this morning because they put their guard to take the ball out of bounds, and we got a 6'11" guy guarding the guy out of bounds with the wingspan that's hitting the top of the arena, and they're trying to put the ball in bounds with a guard.
Yeah,
and they didn't even call timeout.
No, what are they doing? What are they doing?
You don't pick up a 5-second call there. You got 2 timeouts.
Yeah,
you could have used one to save you on that 5-second call, but even not using it then, you would still call one to set the defense to say, guys, don't foul, but don't leave them open.
The thing is, these basketball teams, you got 5 players playing, but you got about 10 coaches on that bench. That should be someone should be in the ear of the head coach saying, "Hey, we need to be doing this and that." But nothing was being done or said, and it was total. I think it was breakdown.
It shouldn't have been that close, really, either. I believe Ziegler didn't he miss like 4 free throws in that game?
Yeah, he missed 4 free throws in that game.
Right in a row. It's like
4 free throws.
Kind of unusual for him.
And you go down here, and Tennessee has been very fortunate. Now they didn't come out at Ole Miss the other night. But they've been very fortunate pulling these games right out at the end. And you go back and you look at, how everything turned out here, and you think, how'd they win the game? They lost the points in the paint against Alabama, 32-28. They lost the fast break points, 11-6. They lost the second chance points, 14-7. The turnovers were fairly even. The boards, they out-rebounded Tennessee 43-32. There you go. You look at all those stats, and
Tennessee wins.
And Tennessee wins the game.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
No.
Yeah. Well, you go back and you look at the free throws at Alabama. They were 17 for 26 at the free throw line, and you turn the book on it. You turn the page in the book.
And you also have to give Tennessee's defense a lot of credit for running Alabama off the 3-point line, and that's how their offense starts. Is they put up the 3 and then they go for the rebound.
Right.
And they were not they were not connecting, and part of that is Tennessee's effort. And when they were coming around inside that three-point line, they weren't very effective trying to run anything.
Yeah.
It was still a matter of, take a couple steps and throw one up, but they were still taking 20-footers.
Tennessee goes down to Ole Miss. They lose 76 to 78 to Ole Miss down there on Ole Miss's court. And you're thinking, and I'm a firm believer of this, a lot of times when you win really big games, probably didn't really deserve to win that Alabama game. I mean, they're down right there 4 with, I don't know, practically nothing on the clock. Alabama pulls that rebound down there.
Yeah.
And right at the end, and they're going to have to foul, and they're in real trouble. But on the other hand, you go down there to Ole Miss, and then you let one get away you should have won.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
You see.
Yeah.
So everybody's so upset, but you're like, well, they sort of all even out, in the long run. I really believe that. And it took some luck right there at the end by Ole Miss, got the rebound, guy throws it back up there, hits it right down there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just about as lucky on their part.
I kind of played that back, see if it at 0, and like, he got it off,
but
just barely.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to the depth of the SEC basketball. I mean, you're the quality of teams, up and down the entire schedule. I mean, you really don't have a break. Yeah. Even after coming off a great win against Alabama.
Right. Somebody clarify for me, what got thrown on the court? I didn't watch it live, so there was a stoppage for something being thrown on the court.
They said they were throwing trash on the court.
Well, at the end, I saw orange go on there. If that's at the end of the game, I don't know what it was.
It's costing Ole Miss $500,000.
Really?
The SEC fine came down for the fans on the court and for the foreign objects. It's $500,000.
Yeah, well, they
fine.
were trying to keep the fans off the court, and they did a pretty good job of keeping them off. There wasn't a whole lot down there, and then when the teams got off out of the arena, they let them come down after the teams left the court. So
is that what they're getting fined for?
I don't.
Was it when Tennessee was getting ready to shoot a free throw, 33 something? Maybe it was something that could maybe
I
hurt
just figured somebody was throwing a catch-up ball or something since it was Ole Miss, or mustard, whatever, golf ball. I don't know.
I really like to watch this game. It was one of the better games that I've seen all year long because you had two great coaches. Chris Beard, I think, does an outstanding job at Ole Miss, and then you got our guy up here, Barnes, Rick Barnes, and I thought you had two great coaches there going at each other. And Dwayne, I thought it was just a real physical game.
It was real
and
physical.
Tony, you can comment on this too, but they really went after each other. I mean, really, it surprisingly had any offense in the game at all.
But at the end, I think that Ole Miss wanted it worse than we did. That Brakefield guy, I mean, he dominated. He just kept taking it to the basket, and he was not going to be denied. I mean, he got 19 points in the second half, didn't he?
I mean, even by watching that game, though,
they couldn't stop him.
I mean, it was electric. You know, the best way to describe it, at the game from the very beginning, and and you got Tennessee coming in, and all the big wins that they had coming off the Alabama game. Now you're down in Hotty Toddy area.
Hotty Toddy, yeah.
Ole Miss, maybe that was a Hotty Toddy that got thrown in, whatever that is.
It's that big game next game.
Yeah.
Big game next game. You get the big one on Saturday, then you got to watch out.
Yeah,
got to watch out.
That's the trap game.
Yeah. And we talked about on this show, if Chaz Lanier gets 16 points or better, Tennessee wins. They haven't lost.
Yeah.
He got 15.
Really?
They was one short.
Ziegler
and
just
look
had
at the
8.
final score. It was
it.
almost, one more bucket by Lanier, and we got at least an overtime game. You see what I'm saying? But that's interesting. But you go back and you look at the overall game.
It's pretty close stat-wise.
Well, look at this. Points in the paint. Ole Miss 46 to 20.
Yeah, 46.
46 to 20. Better circle that right there because
that was the big one.
That's
it
was Alabama missing the free throws, against Tennessee last Saturday that put them in trouble. But points in the paint by Ole Miss.
That was big.
That was big right there. Fast break points. Ole Miss 15 to 2 on fast break points. Points off turnovers. Ole Miss 17 to 10. Second chance points. Ole Miss 13 to 9. Turnovers, Ole Miss 5, Tennessee 8. I'm just saying, bench points was 24 to 24. I mean, that was pretty even. But you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 categories right there that you've not won any of those categories. And if you're going to these games down here to the stretch, you're seeing that pattern. I really like this team. I mean, they play well together. They seem to like each other. Barnes does a great job. They work hard on defense. They're going to be a hard out, but, there's something there that they're getting away with what we're seeing right here.
They start out slow a lot of times, too, and it's like.
And, to be, I won't give them the excuse, but you talk big game, next game, but you also got big game, next game, senior day. So, because you go to senior day today, so I won't excuse them for faltering on the road, but if you looked at what they have done, you can see where 20-year-olds might take a break in their mental break in this game, thinking we just win the last two and we're good. We beat Alabama, and falter a little bit on the road when you get into a very hostile environment like that.
Yeah. Well, senior days. Yeah, they're going to have them. Well, the Lady Vols had that last week. They had senior day over against the Georgia team.
And it did not go well.
They were going to have their big celebration after the game. After they won, they were going to celebrate, and they went out there and they lost. And I can relate to that. My senior year over there at UT, of course they didn't do much back in my day. They didn't give any awards out, hardly at all, or all SEC. You got a certificate or something. I mean, it's a whole different ball game now. But on senior night, I'll never forget. If you're a senior, they announce you last. I mean, we had to run through a tee, and they announce you last. And then we had LSU coming in here, and we're leading the Southeastern Conference, and we're in control. I mean, we win this home game. The worst we can do in the Southeastern Conference is tie, which would have meant that, we could have virtually won the conference 2 years in a row.
Right,
We tied for the conference championship the year before. We could have won it outright. Yep. My senior year, and what we do, we go out there and we get beat by LSU, a very average LSU team.
Yeah, really.
And, of course, Coach Mears used to say, well, they're always going to play good when they come up here to play us, because we played on Saturday and Monday. Well, they played Kentucky on Monday, so they would just prepare for us because they thought they had a better chance to beat us than beating Kentucky up in Lexington. That's what Coach Mears always said. But anyway,
I can tell you've gotten over it pretty good.
No, I still haven't got.
Time does not heal all things.
I'm glad that he can sleep well at night and all that.
I still haven't gotten over it because the team that beat us those 2 years was LSU, Dale Brown.
Yeah.
And it was my junior year was his first year, and my senior year was his second year. And the odd thing about it is when we went down to play them in Baton Rouge, we beat them down there.
Yeah.
And so,
what year was Maryville there? What years was he?
My freshman year.
Your freshman year?
He was a senior my freshman year. So I didn't get to play against him because we weren't eligible.
But you got to see him play.
I got to see him play, yeah.
I bet that was something.
Yeah, he was an outstanding player, but he didn't really play all that well against Tennessee because Tennessee played him zone, and they put a chaser on him. And they always held him to 25 points. I always thought that was ironic because a 25 or 26-point game by the average person. But Pete was averaging 46 or 47 points a game. So he just despised playing Tennessee.
I bet he did.
They slowed the game down, and and he didn't get many chances, and then he just.
And again, what people forget is there's no 3-point line at that point.
No.
Those are all 2-pointers.
No. The other day or the other night, Tennessee's down 4 with less than a minute to go. Dwayne, they're 0 for 8 from 3-point. They're 0 for 8 the second half. 0 for 8. Belichick hits a 3 and gets fouled, goes to free throw line and ties the game up. And I'm going, man, I'm telling you, Lady Luck,
exactly.
Lady Luck has found us again for the second game in a row, but it didn't hold out. And, again, we were 12 for 31 from 3-point shots.
Belichick had a chance right there at the end
which was about 10 too many.
Yeah, he had a chance right then. Let's talk about that inning just a little bit. Tony Mashak gets the ball there, and he's dribbling up the court, but he takes about 2 or 3 dribbles on the other side of the 10-second line before he calls timeout. We could have had the ball there on the side with 4 to 5 seconds left, which could have meant a lot of difference. Looked like Belichick. I don't really know what he was trying to do at the end. I don't know if he was trying to go up for the dunk or whether he was trying to put it up there or he was worried about the clock. But if you got 5 seconds and he's got the ball out there, you're not near as worried, are you?
No.
Dwayne,
no. Huh? And what surprises is this, Coach Barnes, he goes through all these situations. And so, near the end of the game, you got this many seconds left. This is what you need to be doing. All that. And what happens is these kids, they zone out of what's been taught to them, and it led to a really not
I think
very
he
good
was trying to
decision.
draw a foul too there.
Yeah.
Maybe make the basket, but
Could've
also
been.
draw a foul
Yeah.
too. But, it didn't
But
work
Lady
out.
Luck again. He hits the 4-point play.
Yeah.
And how many times is he going to miss that shot underneath that he misses right
Yeah,
there
I
to
mean-
send the game into overtime? I'm telling you, if anybody thinks this game doesn't have any luck in it, there's not going to be any luck in the tournament.
Sure.
You can just forget that. Tony Ierulli, sports has got a lot of luck in it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
always.
you can talk
95%.
all about the coaches and the X's and O's and this and that, but there's that luck factor.
That's something you can't script or anything like that.
Always.
It's the grace of God coming in every now and then.
Yeah. Well,
He should have made an old school shot. He should have banked it off the glass on that last shot.
exactly.
And the thing that's it leaves Tennessee in a position where the standings are mostly set at the top. Like we have a pretty good idea, but if you win that game, then you have helped yourself out because you're tournament-wise, you're putting yourself farther away from where you might have to play Florida or Kentucky. But now you're stuck in a spot where you're waiting on to see what happens with Ole Miss today, as to where everybody's going to stack up, and nobody's going to know who the 5, 6, 7, 8 are until we get done at 11 o'clock tonight.
Tony, really, on your senior day, the last game you played, did you have a lot of hardware, and what took place on your?
In my basketball playing
No,
day?
no, football, Maryville College, right?
I mean, Maryville College, I think they said, hey, congratulations.
See you later.
That's all. What about you,
Yeah,
Tony?
back in our day, it was not a.
They didn't take you to Shoney's or anything?
No, we had no Shoney's. We had no nothing like that.
Did you win the game?
Of course, Maryville College.
You
Yeah,
won
of
the
course,
game.
we won
Yeah.
the
How
game
about
at
you,
all.
Donnie Moore?
Well, when I played at Maryville, senior day was usually a pretty good big deal.
Well,
Of course, I didn't get to participate in one over there, but
yeah. The parents would be there, and we'd go out there during
got to see it
pregame
anyway.
and shake hands with the head coach. Head
Yeah.
coach, Coach Fickard gave me his only hug in 2 years and all of that, and said my name correctly. And so, I know he worked on it.
Yeah. Dwayne Easter, what about over at Alcoa High School and Vern Oliver in your last game over there? What Vern do for you guys?
I don't think they did anything. To be honest with you, I don't remember.
Now that's the kind of gift that just keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just didn't do anything. And did you
It's
win?
not-
Did you win the game?
Yeah, I believe I'm trying to remember who he did play. We only lost 5 games my senior year. We went 29-5.
Wow.
Oak Ridge beat us twice. Oak Ridge is always hard to
And
beat.
they were
No
tough.
classes back then. Is that correct? or
No,
not?
we could have been in single A, but we were bumped up to double A. But the year after I graduated, they went to single A, and that's when they started winning all those championships. So I wished we'd have went single A my senior year, because we were playing bigger schools and still went 29. We won district and region and got beat by Chattanooga Notre Dame, who had beat twice during the season.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat somebody 3 times.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
It just dawned on me, my senior game, it was against Center College, and we played it at night at Heritage High School.
Really?
At Heritage?
At Heritage High School. I can't. I
Because
don't-
the crowd you couldn't hold the crowd over there. Or what was it?
Because they didn't have lights.
I know. One, we didn't have lights. I can't figure out why we played a night game in November at Heritage High School. I can't figure that one out, but that's where it ended up there.
Yeah. Very good. All
Well,
right.
they almost did that this year, or almost had to because of the weather. They almost ended up playing at Maryville High School
Really.
under the lights because they almost had a weather delay that forced it.
Well, that's and hopefully one day they'll get lights back at Maryville College. I mean, I
Well,
think it'd be so good.
the AD. I think the AD was kind of hinting at that when he
Yeah,
was here, when he was
he's
here
there a
last couple weeks ago.
I think it'd be great being able to do that. Certainly.
Yeah. One other thing before we get out here, I thought it was very admirable by Tennessee's players to take their NIL money and pool it
At
and
10,000.
give it to Dick Vitale
That
for the cancer program.
That was good. They did
Yeah, I
that.
thought that was. You don't see that every day.
I think
You
he
know,
was
from-
very-
Sometimes you see it from a school or, a coach, but not very often from
He
the
was very
players.
emotional too. Dick
Yeah,
Vitale,
I thought
but
that
was
was
good.
very
Yeah,
good.
it was great having Dick Vitale here.
It was.
Watching game.
I think him and Barnes are pretty good friends. I think.
Yeah, Dick's at times is a little front runner. You know, he's a little, you know, everything's going real well for one team.
Oh, yeah.
And then if it doesn't go well for that team, it's on the other guys. You know, he's kind of a front runner, isn't he, Dwayne? No, to a certain extent.
He gets going on some. A lot of it's not about the game, though. It's like some other stuff.
Yeah.
He finally comes back to the game.
I ran into him at a going out to dinner. He lives in Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ran into him at going out to steakhouse and all that, and he was just really nice, very cordial.
Yeah.
I ran into him down at in Florida at spring training. The Yankees were playing, and he was
down there.
And he was
he was the coach at Detroit, and he got Spencer Haywood. Spencer was trying to get in school here at UT.
Oh, really?
He'd have been a great player here.
Oh, yeah.
But they couldn't get him in, you know, grade-wise. But they didn't have any trouble getting him in up at Detroit, Dick Vitale. So I think he played up there 1 year, and then he went to the ABA, I think.
Yeah, he's good.
Where he ended up. Yeah. Hey, we'll take a timeout here. When we return, Donnie Moore will provide some high school tournament basketball scores and some other news from around the area. And then veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons joins us with his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
The Roger L. Newman Company.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports Page. Donnie Moore, basketball tournaments, high school, full swing. And we've got some people in the county still alive.
We sure do, Mike. Basketball's still throwing up its last gasp in the season, but the other spring sports are going strong as well.
Yeah, you got that overlap right now, and there's a lot of exciting
spring
stuff
sports
going
are in full swing. You're right. Well, let's get started here with our local scoreboard. As always, sponsored by the Mandy B. Street Realty Company, and we appreciate their sponsorship very much. Let's go to prep baseball first of all. Spring sport. Greenback hosted Tellico Plains yesterday. Greenback at 1-0 and Tellico Plains at 1-1. And Cherokee showed some offense yesterday. 17-4 was the final score in favor of Greenback.
So they're 2-0, so that means they won 2 more games than the
now.
basketball team.
Yeah, that's true.
Congratulations, Greenback.
Definitely. A couple other baseball scores of note. Heritage versus Alcoa. We went over to Alcoa, and Alcoa's 2-0. Heritage is 0-2 on the young season. But Alcoa won this one 6-4, so a fairly close game over at
we're going to get to talk to some of the players about that game next hour. But Heritage had a 4-0 lead going into the 6th inning.
Goodness.
And
that's tough.
Alcoa, that third time through the lineup for Alcoa was they were keyed in.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's obviously so. Seymour traveled to Halls last night, and Seymour at 1-1 took care of the Red Devils 7-5. Halls is 1-2 on the young season. So congratulations to Seymour on a win last night.
Yeah, it's a good win for Coach Kahneman and the guys.
Yeah. Today we have a game coming up at 2 o'clock this afternoon. William Blount travels to CAK to play Christian Academy of Knoxville. Like I said, it starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon, so we'll be interested to see how that one goes.
It's a good road game, and this first week, if you can get in 2 or 3 games, you're getting that start before, and you want to get in a couple before the spring break falls in and kind of interrupts the season a little bit.
If you had one the other day with that 75-mile-an-hour wind blowing out, there'd be some home runs, wouldn't there?
I hope
there were a couple.
It'd been nice if it had been blowing out. Let's move on to a little bit of prep basketball. I have one score for you right here from last night. Maryville Christian School at 16-7 versus Mount Pisgah Academy at 22-8 in the NACA Division IV championships at Dayton. Is that Dayton, Tennessee, or Dayton, Ohio?
I'd have to look. I do not remember.
I'm not sure.
It's usually NACA is in Atlanta, so I'm not really positive where they were playing it this year.
Well, Maryville Christian School wins 43-25 and claims 3rd place in the tournament. So congratulations to the Eagles. Couple of games scheduled in lacrosse, girls lacrosse, which has become a sanctioned spring sport now. Heritage hosted Pigeon Forge, and they did not report their score, so I don't know how that one went. William Blount went to Catholic last night and won 15 to Catholic won 15-4. I'm sorry.
Catholic won that one.
Catholic won that
was
one.
Was a reverse of the preseason scrimmage.
Yeah,
in the last preseason scrimmage, William Blount won that one over here.
Earlier in the week, William Blount defeated Saudi Daisy 9-3. So
yeah, they're off to a good. They're off to a start, and we're going to see how this season shapes up with lacrosse.
Right.
There's no history to judge any of this by.
Absolutely
really,
not.
Because there's a difference between the club level and this actual varsity level.
They play those games, you reckon, on the football field, or
they have
their own field?
They can, but they have their own facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving to softball action last night, Greenback traveled to Oliver Springs and was not happy with the result. Oliver Springs won this one 13-7. Oliver Springs at 1-1, Greenback at 0-1. Heritage hosted Eagleton last night. Well, Heritage hosted.
Heritage hosted
3 games.
Heritage hosted a triple.
Hosted a lot.
Triple play.
It was called the Friday night triple play.
Coach Sherman does about 3 of those during the season.
He
really loves those. Where Heritage plays the first game and the last game, and their 2 opponents play in between.
That's correct, and that's what happened last night. Heritage versus Eagleton in the first game. Heritage won this one 16-0, shutting out Eagleton. Second game featured Eagleton versus McMinn County, and McMinn County trounced Eagleton 11-2.
That's 2 tough matchups for Eagleton.
It is, yeah.
And it's a good team, but it's also a team that you're playing classification or 2 up when you're playing in those.
Right. And in the third match of the evening, Heritage hosted McMinn County, and Heritage at 3-1 beat McMinn County 11-1.
Another good win for Heritage. They're getting Lady Mountaineers are getting a good start, picking up right where they left off last year.
They certainly are. One more softball score of note: William Blount versus CAK last night. Hosted CAK, where the boys baseball went to CAK, but CAK wins this one 2-0. Shut out William Blount last night. CAK's 2-1. William Blount's 3-1 on the season.
And under a new coach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the end of an era right there, wasn't it?
Well, I'm not even going to say the era is over. I think it maybe it's taking a break. I don't know, but
maybe so. Maybe so.
But I do have the basketball recap because we have state sectionals going on tonight.
Okay. Let us know about
the girls are going. The girls' state sectional games are tonight. The boys will be on Monday night. But we still have. Let's see. We've got the Heritage girls. We're hosting Livingston Academy tonight. They played Livingston back. We talked to them right after they played Livingston Academy in the Christmas Classic. They came over to visit not long after that win. So this is a game. They've seen each other. They know each other. This is going to be an interesting state sectional, and Heritage is going to be hosting it. Lady Tornadoes are making a very familiar road trip. They're going down to McMinn Central. This is the 4th straight state sectional where these 2 have met up. McMinn has taken the last 2, so it'll be an interesting meeting with the Chargerettes.
See how that goes.
Then come on Monday, the Heritage Boys will be hosting Upperman.
The Bees.
The Maryville boys lost to Oak Ridge. They'll be traveling to Science Hill. The Alcoa boys beat Austin East, and they'll be hosting Kingston in the state sectional. So we have 5 teams playing for a bid in the state tournament.
Gotcha.
Because you win and in is what
that's right.
That's why the state sectional round works.
That's true. And you don't win, and you go home.
You go home and are very upset because you were 1 win away from the state tournament.
That's right. Well, I only have one national letter of intent signed this week. I don't know whether there were more than that or not, Marcus, but I didn't see them.
We're in the middle of a lull, so that sounds about right.
Okay. Armony Dunn from Heritage High School signed with Union Commonwealth University up in Kentucky to play football.
You know what? You say that there were 3 signees, and they're trickling out the stories, but there were 3 Heritage players that signed.
Okay, good. Well, I'll get them as they come through then.
So we'll have 2 more next week when they show up in print.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Hey, Marcus, on this tournament, the way it's set up, feel sorry for those teams that have gone all the way to this point and have not lost. Seems like if you lose, like tonight, you ought to be able to throw out the loss card and say, look, we've not used our loss cards
Mulligan.
Yet. We need to be able to have another game, another chance, and maybe go on to whatever you want to do with us. But, heck, we haven't used that yet.
I would have to go back and look, but just looking at our local pairings, yes, the Maryville boys have lost and are still in, but I don't think Alcoa or Kingston have lost. And
Alcoa's girls lost to who was it? Gatlinburg Pittman.
Yeah, so you've got. I mean, you've got some region final losses, but some of these teams haven't lost, and they've only lost in the region final. So it's not like you're playing the 3 losses in the postseason card here.
Yeah, but if you haven't lost, it'd be nice to throw the card out for at least 1 game.
Yeah, wouldn't it though?
Your card is you get to host, Mike.
Okay.
That's okay. You get to host the game if you won.
I guess
if you lost, you're traveling.
I guess that's some consolation, but.
Well, that's it for our local scoreboard for this week, sponsored as always by the Mandy B Street Realty Corporation. We appreciate Mandy and her sponsorship, so we'll get on to the business at hand. Now I'm gonna kick it to my cohort over here, veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, for his feature, Mark It Down, after I tell you that you're listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus, all yours.
Well, thanks, Donnie.
You're welcome.
And to be fair to our guests, I'll go ahead and tell them that we were talking about them 2 weeks ago. If their ears were burning, we were discussing we were discussing flag football and its introduction as a spring sport, and kind of going through as to how it's developed with the TSSAA and the Titans. But this morning we have Blount County's only varsity flag football team here, from Samuel Everett School of Innovation, Mike. That's SESI. Okay. You say you have trouble with the acronym sometimes, so.
Well, I do. But
he thinks it's a soft drink. He thinks it's like a sweet version of Pepsi. He's having trouble with it. But Coach Lacey Hatcher's brought a couple of. Is it the Lady Bulldogs or is it okay? And we just wanted to talk with them about the starting up a program and being the first. So, Coach, welcome in this morning. Donnie, we got them on yet?
They're on.
Okay. Donnie's flipping switches now. But, Coach, I guess the first question is, did the girls come up with the idea? Was this something SESI wanted to start? How did the team kind of come together?
Well, we would have to thank Justin Ridge for that.
Coach Ridge was involved. We should have guessed that. So how did the process go? I mean, did you all was it sign up? Did you recruit? How was this team kind of come together?
Well, he come to me and asked me if I'd be interested in coaching the girls flag football for SESI, and we hosted tryouts for a couple of days to see how it would go, and we've got a full team so far.
So full team, does that mean we got 11, or does that mean we got 7? How many are getting on the field? We've not seen this yet, so what does it look like? How many?
So it's a 7-on-7. So we've got at least 12 girls right now that are doing it. But I think it's the unknown for the sport of the girls. There's a lot of interest in it, but for them not knowing, I think they're still on the standby. Yeah.
Okay, well, you've got 3 players here. Who have you brought with you this morning?
Well, we've got Riley. She's our only senior that's on the team.
Okay. And Riley, what position do you play?
Right here.
I play quarterback, running back. We mostly play every position, just depending on like the
Versatile.
play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Best way to learn the game.
Yeah.
Actually, all 3 of these are back and forth on quarterback. So, depending on what's going on, they will switch back and forth.
Okay, so you got a freshman here. Who's the freshman? And this is
Marley.
And Marley, what are you? Where are you playing? Your quarterback and / what else?
Like the
She's running back. I mean, she plays offense, defense. She's everywhere. We can put her in everywhere.
And then one of these things that we're still getting accustomed to, even though we're used to it at Greenback a little bit, but having it in Blount County is we're getting used to. You have an 8th grader.
We do.
And who is that?
Maggie Hannah.
And so, again, quarterback / everything.
I play running back, and I'll play receiver, and then I'll play a little bit of rusher.
Okay, so everybody's being a little bit versatile here and
Yes.
trying a lot of different things is what it sounds like.
Yes.
So,
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Coach, I'm going to we've been on a theme this spring because we had Mississippi State on here a couple weeks ago, and we were talking with them about starting an athletic program from scratch. But when you're starting a whole team from scratch, there's a lot of work that goes into that. And
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about what's been the biggest challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going back to the unknown for most of the girls. So I think they're still holding back on coming out to try it, but taking in the opportunity of all their backgrounds of where they come from athletic. I mean, we've got volleyball, soccer, softball players. So using different, what is it for the soccer here is feet work. She has amazing feet work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for her receiving skills are amazing. So taking in what sport that they're on and teaching them on the football field what they can use their athleticism for to.
You know that, and that's one of the biggest. You mentioned one of the biggest transitions for when we talk to the guys coming off of football season, is the total change in footwork from football to basketball.
Yes.
Because you cross over in one and you shouldn't be crossing over in the
Yeah.
other. And so I think there's some universality that between football, regardless of whether they're wearing pads or 11 or 7. But the one that's really got me interested, how do you block? I mean, do you have linemen? They use hands or?
Basically, it's all flagpole, but if they're being rushed, the center or running back there can block, but everything has to be, crossover, just like in basketball.
I remember when they had flag football leagues at UT, like you had to have your hands behind your back,
Yes.
sort of thing, if you were going to block.
Yeah,
Is that
either or. If not, they'll get called on it.
okay? So they can penalize you for just pushing somebody down.
Yes, and they can't touch the quarterback too. So.
Okay, so then we get into the interesting question with your 3 quarterbacks here, and I guess I'll be nice and pick on Riley first. You're the senior.
Okay.
But what's your favorite position so far as far as being out there? If you all had as many players as you could possibly have and you could play any position, what's your favorite one to play right now?
I really like. Well, it's hard. I really like running back, but I also do like quarterback a lot. I like both.
You like
I
both?
probably couldn't pick. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll throw the same question to you, Marley. If you could just focus on one, what would it be?
Running back. I really like it.
Running back. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Why can you do the whole hand push thing? No, you can't do that. All right. But what's the fun part about it for you?
I just it's not as stressful as being QB, because you have to worry about everybody. You just worry about yourself and where you have to go. So I think.
And Maggie, what about for you? If you could pick just one to focus on, if Coach sat you down and said, "This is where you're going to be for the next 5 years. We want you to do this." What would you hope that would be?
Like what they said, it's hard to pick just one. They're all fun. I love running back. It's like what Marley said. It's not as stressful,
QB's awesome, but running back is really fun, and then receivers, they get the action.
They get receivers in flag football. Receivers are the stars because they're the guys or girls going up and making the catch and getting the touchdown. They're the ones who actually. Well, that's another question. And boys can't spike the football in high school. Can you all spike the football in?
Not that I know of. They're all excited to do a touchdown dance. That's all they talk about. But
well, we're going to get to that question. That's on the list. But for you, you're teaching a lot. So is it just you? Do you have help? I mean,
no, I've got two. I've got Landon, which is out there behind you. He has the experience in football. He went to William Blount. He played all his years through there. So Landon's been a big help to these girls. And then I've got Kaylee Lovingood. She's another assistant coach. She went to college for softball. So she's excellent with helping these girls on their footwork because she pitched, teaching them, throws, use with their body and all that. So both of them have been excellent help.
And I'm going to try to lean into giving you a shout out opportunity here, but we had Parks and Rec on here last week, and Chris Clark and Joe Huff. We were talking about some of the facilities they've upgraded, and we started thinking about it. And you've got track going on, you've got soccer going on, you got earlier in the year you had pitchers and catchers working on different things. It seems like you all might have come up a little bit short on field priority. So is it true Parks and Rec kind of helped y'all out with some practice facilities?
Absolutely. We have the options depending on what's going on down there. We do use the soccer field, the football field, and that's helped a lot for us. And on rainy days, we still work inside.
Now, is it fun practices? Is this like after school practices, or is this like get up into crack of dawn type practices? What do y'all? How is this working?
Well, after school. Yeah, I mean they're fun, but mainly after school because we're not all in college yet, so we are in high school / middle school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And this is something we ask most of the co-op between SESI and Everett. What's it like with some of your players at one school and some of your players at another? Like, how does that kind of camaraderie kind of build up when maybe you're not going through the hallways all day together?
Well, I go to Eagleton and they both go to SESI, so I'm friends with both of them outside of sport and everything. So I feel like it doesn't have an effect on our relationship because we're mostly on the field together more than at school. I've never seen them at school, but I also don't really go to school. So yeah.
So here's the really tough question I was leading up to earlier, and Coach kind of touched on it. Who has the best touchdown dance set up so far?
Oh. Ooh.
Who on the team has the best ones? Because I'm guessing there's been practicing going on. So who has the best move so far?
I would say one of them.
I don't even have a touchdown.
Lord, don't look at me.
Oh, I just feel like that's kind of like a Marley thing. You just have the best touchdown dance. I
don't even have a dance. I kind of just stand there.
We're going to have to put some effort into finding one.
I think we just laid down a whole new challenge we weren't even looking for. And Coach, I want to come back to some of the things because, like I said, we're still getting familiar with this. But, I mean, when people come out to watch this, are they going to see you in helmets? Are they going to see you in pads? Or is it what's the safety equipment for flag football look like?
They do have the helmet option, which are the soft ones. But none of these girls have took that. I think it's more of a see in a minute. They're like, but flags, mouthpieces. I mean,
so
just missing the pads.
It's more like the lacrosse gear.
Yep.
So you're pretty much just out there. You're not padded up, and people can see the faces.
Yeah.
So the other one being, because we can all think back to our gym classes, and we've talked about this on the air before. There are lots of tricks with how you can put those flags on. I'm assuming that there are rules involved now that we're talking about this outside of PE class, and that things are checked on flags. Is that true?
Yes. So, yes, because they're the pop flags. So it's actually they have what is it? The
It's like suction.
Class.
yeah, they're like suction cups.
Yeah.
So you can literally hear them
okay.
pop across the field once they get it.
Really?
Yeah. So
So they're not Velcroed.
they're not Velcro. They
We,
pop.
Wow.
we have just learned
Yeah.
something today
We
that
have,
I had
yeah.
not known about.
Indeed.
I
Yeah.
thought they were handkerchiefs, but you know.
Well, there were I mean, they would. You couldn't get away with tying
Those
them,
must have
but
went
those
out about
Velcros
64
and
years ago.
twisting
Yeah.
them around in certain ways. You can, as soon as I leave the line, my shirt's coming out and covering about half that flag,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
That's definitely a rule. They have to have their shirts tucked in. So, and they can't cover their flags with their hands.
So,
Guilty.
what? we'll go down the list here, but what is the best part of practice and the worst part of practice right now?
Worst part of practice is definitely running.
Definitely running. Okay. What's the best thing? What's the drill you look forward to when Coach blows that whistle?
I don't know if there's like a drill, but I like that we're all like together and like we all work together when we're out there and we're all cheering each other on. That's pretty fun.
So Riley, what about you? What's the worst part of practice?
The worst part, okay. I don't want to say it's the worst part, like the running, like she said, but I mean it's making us better. So I don't want to say it's the worst, but it definitely feels the worst. But my favorite.
That's
play,
okay.
My favorite play or like drill that we do is probably like we have like someone on offense, someone on defense, and then we like run around the cone here, run around the cone here, and one of us has the ball, and the other person has to try to get the flag, but they try to get past them. It definitely helps a lot with like the hip movement because it's very vital whenever you're playing flag football. Yeah.
And Maggie, what about for you?
Running definitely, I don't know, it makes us better, like what Riley said, and it helps determination and adds, I don't know, some motivation. But probably my favorite part is when we all get on the line and Coach calls a few plays and then she says, all right, it's y'all's turn. And then we all have to huddle up and figure out what play we're doing. And
So Coach is putting some decision making on you guys.
yeah.
I like that. That sounds like a Kansas City Chiefs way of drawing some stuff up every now and then, but
Yeah.
you never know. So I know we got to take a break, Donnie, but real quickly, Coach, I want to verify this with you because I was looking it up. So there's 5 games in April, is that right, for the schedule?
Yes.
And the first one is Walker Valley, and
Yes.
then that's it. And I'm going to make sure I got this right. 2 games in one day?
Correct. So they will have 2 games in one day, which in our area, there's not as many girls that are, participate in this, but they'll get to play them back to back.
Okay. So, and that game, is that here?
Yes, the first one is home, I'm pretty sure. Yes. And
So
it'll be over at Eagleton.
It will be at Eagleton on the football field.
Yes.
Okay. So that will be your first chance to see the team's home opener, April
right.
3rd. Thursday, April 3rd, doubleheader. And then it looks like the week after, a trip to Silverdale, and then Wednesday, April 16th, doubleheader, including Cleveland.
Yep.
So, and then depending on how things shake up and how y'all are doing, I understand we have a postseason of sorts that's invitational. So,
Yeah.
something a little different for TWSAA to do invitational format, but
I think it's out in Murfreesboro.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
going to do it the week before spring fling, is what they told us. So,
Yeah.
no pressure there, but we issue the standard challenge. We love to have people come back when they can put their state championship trophies on the table. So, if you needed some extra incentive there, there's always the chance to come back and hang out with us on a Saturday morning. Because I know that's what all teenagers want to do, is come hang out with the old guys on Saturday morning.
Ooh, now I'm motivated.
We appreciate you coming in, and we wish you the best of luck this season. But, Mike, we'll go ahead and take a quick break here and turn the page.
Okay. Donnie Moore, did you play any flag football?
I did not play flag football. I did play football, but didn't get an opportunity to play flag.
I played a little flag football 64 years ago. I played it was through the boys club, and we played other teams in Indiana. They had a state tournament, and we played games and everything. Roughest sport I ever played. I'm telling you right now, you could block. You couldn't extend your arm, but you could keep them right in here. And I'm telling you right now, we played some teams that were huge. I mean, they were absolutely huge, and they'd always have one fast back. and they'd hike the ball back there, and the back would just make circles all the way down the field so you couldn't get the flag. It was unbelievable. Or you could be running yourself all the way down the field, and you think, I'm going to score, and you look down and you go, where's my flag? Another guy's back there, got the flag right there on the field. But it was rough, back in those days. But, we didn't talk too much about rules, but I'm sure that's a little bit different now. But I'm excited for you all being able to play it. It's a good sport, great sport to play. Yeah. So good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, it's time to turn the page. Next up is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
He began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the GoTeez Sports Page Player of the Week segment, featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. Marcus, it's hard to believe, but by golly, it's baseball season, huh?
Right. We were talking about the last segment and going through the scores, and this morning we've got some of the guys we were talking about there. Heritage Baseball is joining us this morning. A couple players coming over. Guys, thanks for coming in this morning. And let me make sure I got the names right. Braden?
Yep.
And then Gavin, right?
Yep.
Okay. And maybe Coach Ben's going to join us here shortly, but we'll see if he can make it in, because you guys were playing late last night. Had a rivalry game with Alcoa that was really looking your way, up 4-0 going into the last 2 innings, and Alcoa, that third time through the lineup, found some things. They ended up taking that one 6-4, but you got to enjoy those rivalry games, right? Yeah. Especially out there under the mountain. Mm-hmm. So what was that game? What was it? How did it feel starting that game when y'all were building that lead?
I think it felt really good. We felt like we knew that we could hit Parker pretty well. We saw him last year. We didn't do too well off of him, but we started out the game strong and then kind of just started to fall apart at the end. Kind of happened at Gibbs Monday too. So.
And if you're going to open the season with Gibbs and Alcoa, y'all are scheduling tough.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Bennett may not be here because he doesn't want to take credit for some of this schedule, but that's a heck of a first week.
It sure is.
But let me get a breakdown, guys. What positions do you play, and where normally if you're starting?
I play center field.
I play third base.
Third base, infield.
Yes, sir.
All right. So. Nobody's a pitcher at some point? Or
No.
No, okay. At one point everybody was a pitcher. Now we got the specialization. But you've got, how long you been looking forward for this week to finally get here so y'all can get out and play somebody else? How long is it? What's been the build up to this season? Y'all just been waiting on it, and just ready to play?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a very long time.
We go to the beach this week, and looking forward to seeing new schools around. Well, not really around here. We see, I think, Ravenwood down there, and I heard they're pretty good. So
they are. They're a good team.
Yeah, just looking to kind of see new talent out there or whatever, see how we compare to them.
Now, I've got a little bit of cheat on that because I was looking at the schedule. So y'all are going down to Gulf Shores, right?
Yeah.
So great atmosphere down there.
It is.
Great venues. And like you said, there are teams from all over that come down for spring break week and get in some games. And it feels like this team might be using that chance to kind of get some of that bonding time and get some time because y'all haven't been doing anything but shivering for the most part the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So are you looking forward to getting down there and getting to play some games where it's a little bit warmer?
Yeah, it's always fun when we go down there, kind of have a little team dinner, like first or second night or whatever, and hang out as a team. It's good for team bonding, like you said. We try to go bowling at least one time as a team, but sometimes people just can't make it. But I think we'll have a lot of fun down there under the sun, unlike back here where it's going to be all cold and rainy and stuff.
So there's no sandcastle building or anything like that?
No, probably just a bunch of beach volleyball and football.
Maybe some wiffle ball too.
Well, you know, if you got starters having a really good game, you can kick around some of that sand around third base and maybe build yourself a little something right there.
Oh yeah.
Just to stay awake. So give it the sense of this team is maybe y'all are a little bit younger. Like I knew that you had a lot of good seniors last year. So is this team still trying to figure itself out a little bit, or?
I think we were very underclassmen stacked last year, and I think this year we can just build on top of that and kind of just continue where we were going last year with it. I mean, we made it all the way to regional game with a bunch of sophomores, and now that they've all seen the field, I think we'll be a lot better this year.
And okay, he refreshed my memory because I knew that, forgotten about it because things got so hectic last spring, but it felt a little bit like the boys basketball. Like you all got into a position where you just really needed to win that one.
Yeah.
And you were in the position to play for state. It's kind of that same thing because they kind of had that we're going to prove that we can get there and win that game, which they did this week. Is baseball kind of the same way? Do y'all kind of have a mission that you all have some goals that include getting past where you did last year?
Yeah, I believe that one of our top goals this year is to make it sub-state and then eventually to the state tournament. I know that we can. It's just like last year we made it to that game, and our hitting kind of just fell apart. I mean, we had 4 or 5 hits through 2 games. You can't really do that in the region, especially in the region that we're in. And I think once we get out of region, we have a pretty good chance to go to sub-state. We just got to beat Tullahoma, who was reigning state champs, or Upperman, I'm pretty sure, is the other person we have to look out for. So I think we have a pretty good shot to go somewhere this year.
So we'll give you the easy question. What's the best part about playing at Heritage at home field, where you all have probably one of the most fantastic views of anywhere in high school baseball? But just looking out, especially over right field, is just like something somebody take a postcard of. What's it like playing on that field? What's your favorite part of that field?
I really like the dirt and the grass and all of that, and I think the atmosphere, the fans and stuff around. I think Heritage as a community is very together, and we have a lot of people show out for us. And I mean, like you said, the view's beautiful, and I just.
What about for you, Gavin?
I really like playing for Coach Bennett. That's the biggest thing.
Well, there's that. But you're over on that side of the infield where you can look over your shoulder and see out there.
Got a great view, yeah.
So you get the pretty view.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got the tough side of the infield.
Oh yeah.
So, mostly when we talk to guys who are playing that, do you have that right hand to guard the line, or are you more moving towards the center to cover that kind of ball on the inside of the base path a little bit? How do you kind of line up to cover third?
Well, usually if there's going to be bad hops, I play in so I don't get terrible hops, but it lessens my range. So if we have double play feeds, I'll move in, but if there's nobody on base, I'll play back. And then if he says no doubles, I'll just play the line so that there's no doubles down the line. So.
Yeah, and you have a good feel for how the ball's going to bounce on the on that side at Heritage.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And I'm going to say it is an advantage because.
Sure it is.
I'm not saying that. I think Robbie does a great job making sure that field's in shape, but not every field is. So some people aren't quite used to the ball going to where it should be going.
Yeah.
So knowing what it's going to do is always a little bit, especially now that we're seeing more and more of the turf fields being installed.
Yeah.
And
very helpful.
Because pellets don't play the same way as dirt.
No,
they just don't.
Or grass.
So, and we see the jacket. Is this the new jacket, or is this a vintage Heritage baseball jacket?
No, we just got them this year. We kind of been looking for something like this. I like to wear it. It's very,
that's the
keeps you warm and stuff. You know,
got some insulation.
It's got
when it gets cold out there.
It's kind of got the vintage look to it, but it's not the pinstripes.
I like it.
And I like the gray on red. Was this a team choice, or was this something Coach Bennett just popped out of the bag and surprised y'all with?
Well, he had asked what jacket size we wore, and we were like, "What? We ain't never got jackets or anything." And then he popped out with this and got us new helmets and all that. He kind of spoiled us this year.
He must have big hopes for you guys.
Yeah.
I want you all to look good when you get on that bus and get off in Gulf Shores.
Yeah. He got his helmets too.
Now, are those also
great?
Are those all gray on red, or are those a different?
They're just solid.
They're just solid red.
Solid red.
Yeah.
And are they personalized with numbers, or is it just you pick the red one that's going to fit your head?
Pick the right
just
one.
Pick the right one that fits your head.
Okay, so if they're brand new, that means there's not a lucky one yet. No, nobody's christened one as being the lucky helmet yet.
Okay. No, so. Probably be Gavin French when he comes back.
I bet he would. And we should say that. How many guys are you missing because basketball is still playing? Because this isn't something Heritage has had to worry about before.
No, just Gavin French.
Yeah, just
Gavin.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of the mound in rotation when you get him back on there.
And a big part of the lineup too.
So this one's going to be the curveball. So if you had to tell us and share us the team secret here, who is the Crash Davis of this team? Who is the old veteran guy who's real quiet on the bus, but kind of like the quiet older leader? Who's the guy people kind of look up to on this team? Besides Coach Bennett, when we're talking about older guys, people they look up to. But who's the guy on this team that you all kind of look to as to be the kind of quiet guy? Oh, this is I stumped him. I think I get a strike
they're
on this.
having to think a little bit.
I think Thomas Bowers. I think he would be one of them. He doesn't really show emotion in the box and out in the field. You can always kind of count on him for him to be there. Kind of utility player all around. And usually whenever we need a hit, he's there, delivers for us, you know. But he's not really loud or anything. Very quiet. Doesn't say a few words out there in the outfield. I don't really like it sometimes. But, you know.
Gavin, is he right?
I agree with him, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and then the one we love asking. So, when you come up to bat, are you a simple I just go to the plate type of batter, or are you guys that you have a ritual and thing you go through every time?
I usually have a ritual. I usually tap my helmet, touch the bat with the home plate, and then look at the pitcher, breathe, roll my sleeves up a little bit, and then I'm ready.
And is that for every pitch, or is that just when you come up the first time?
Every pitch.
Every pitch. Okay. Same question here. When you come up, is there a ritual, or is it just go up to
Yeah, ritual. Kind of just step out, kind of look at my bat, read one word on there, and breathe real deep in and out, and then go and tap the plate 3 times, and I'm ready.
Now, baseball players are very superstitious.
But that leaves
for
me
the most
yes,
part.
we are.
That leaves me a question: is there something written on the back? Because otherwise, I mean, pretty much just says like lolling or something, you know.
No, just look at Atlas or DeMarini, something like that. Get my mind off of it.
Okay. I was just curious. I mean, some people do things with their.
I had something written on my bat.
I don't think we want to know what you had written on your bat.
Don't throw me a curveball. Just throw me heat. Right down the middle.
And we'll give you.
Nice.
We'll give you. This one's a toss-up, but
All right.
if you're taking BP, who do you want throwing BP? Who's the one who's you're like, all right, this is a BP. I want to have a good session with this.
Coach Greer.
Coach Greer.
Coach
Yeah,
Greer.
or like pitching and catching coach. I mean, it's down the middle almost every time. You couldn't ask for better BP.
And who's the one you don't want to throw it?
Coach Bennett. Coach Bennett. 100% Coach Bennett. 100%.
That was in unison.
and that clunk you just heard was the bus backing over Coach Bennett and running back over the front because he just got thrown under there very hard. Oh, guys. So what is next? You said next you all leave, what, on Monday? Or are you leaving later today? When do y'all head to the beach?
We
usually leave
supposed to be down
Sunday.
there Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday. And when we all be coming back?
I think it's Thursday or Friday or something like that.
So you get that nice, long, I won't say long, it's about 8 hours.
Yeah, it's about an
8-hour bus trip. And nice long drive down 65. There's 3 Buc-ee's along the way. So, and you saw but they both smiled.
I love Buc-ee's. I love Buc-ee's.
Because that is the place for
So
teams.
cool.
That
So
is
cool.
the place for teams to stop. Especially, I've been at the one at Crossville, and I have seen nearly every type of team come through that Buc-ee's at one point or another, and it is always entertaining. And the T-shirts change when you get to Alabama, by the way. If you've been to the one in Crossville or Sevierville, there's different set of T-shirts in Alabama. So if you're on that collection thing, you can get the special ones down there. But, guys, thank you for coming this morning. I know you didn't get the outcome you wanted last night, but best of luck this week on kind of getting things squared away and situated. And, Mike, we'll just go ahead and turn the page.
Okay. Time for a break. When we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight as Donnie Moore will be up with the national sports headlines, and I'll follow up with some more UT basketball. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90
Good
years,
luck to you.
Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight segment. Donnie Moore, I'm going to turn it over to you, guy.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And we'll get right into our local sports headlines. In fact, not just local in this case. These are ones that are across the world of sports. And they are brought to you, as always, by our good friends at Fast Signs. Fast Signs, make your statement. Yeah, we just did, didn't we? We just did. Let's look first of all. The first article I've got for you today is college football's highest paid coaches.
Not Tony Ierulli.
Not Tony Ierulli. No, but college football's highest coaches in order from 10th place to first place.
Okay.
And this is as of the moment.
As of the moment, yes.
Okay.
That always changes.
It can change today.
It
you
could.
never know who.
Right. As soon as they find out that there's 9 guys ahead of them, they're going to be in there renegotiating their contract.
Yeah, right. Well, tied for 10th position, we have 4 coaches that make around $9 million a year coaching.
Okay.
$9 million. They are Lane Kiffin of Ole Miss, Mark Stoops of Kentucky, Eli Drinkwitz of Mizzou. Three of the 4 so far SEC teams.
Yep.
And the 4th one is Marcus Freeman of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Very good.
Those are tied for 10th position. In 9th place, Brian Kelly of LSU. There's another SEC team, $9.9 million a year.
There'll be more SEC teams.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Number 8, Bill Belichick of University of North Carolina at a cool $10 million.
Yeah, he hadn't even coached the game yet.
Hadn't coached the game. That's right. $2 million bucks.
$2 million goes to $2 million goes to his girlfriend.
Yeah, has to. Number 7, seventh position, Lincoln Riley of Southern Cal at $10.1 million.
Yeah, well, he's on the hot seat.
He sure is.
He better take care of that.
Yeah, he better take his $10 million and run, hadn't he? Number 6, Kalen DeBoer of Alabama at $10.25 million a year.
Yeah, well, he's fixing to get on the hot seat.
Yeah, he is. You're right.
He's borderline.
Yeah, he's DeBorg. He's about ready to get DeBorg.
Let's look at all these SEC coaches in here. Number 5, Steve Sarkisian from Texas, $10.8 million a year.
Got that oil money coming in.
Yeah, boy. Number 4, Dan Lanning, Oregon, who just got a $2 million a year raise. He's up to $11 million a year now.
Nike money.
Wow. Nike money. That's right. Number 3, Tony Dabo Sweeney.
Dabo
from Clemson, $11.5 million a year.
Just please hire me sometime.
No kidding. Share the wealth a little bit.
He doesn't like that transfer portal, but he doesn't complain about being number 3 in salary now.
Right.
Number 3.
Number 2, Ryan Day of Ohio State, coming in at $12.5 million a year.
Ohio State's got money.
And the number 1 coach, who would you say it is?
Jimbo Fisher.
Well, that's a good guess.
No, SEC.
SEC,
Florida.
Kirby Smart.
Kirby,
Georgia,
that's right now. Yeah.
at $13.2 million a year.
I have a problem with this list, Donnie.
What is it?
And I'm trying to figure this out in my head. How in the world is Kentucky paying their football coach more than half the SEC?
That's right.
And
That's a great question.
Tennessee is nowhere on that list.
Wow.
Well, we'll see how it
changes. That's almost what they pay a basketball coach.
I know.
Is Venables on that list from Oklahoma?
He's not.
But he needs to take care of his money too.
Yeah, he's got
it. Well, the L.A. Chargers announced the release of 5-time Pro Bowl pass rusher Joey Bosa on Wednesday of this week. Had Bosa still been on the roster next week, he would have been owed a bonus of $12 million plus.
Wow.
A roster bonus, just to be on the roster.
Be on the roster.
Yeah. So L.A. made the move this week and saved $25.36 million towards the salary cap.
Yeah, he'll get picked up pretty quick.
He sure will. Bosa, 29 years old, was the number 3 overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft and had 5+ sacks in 8 out of 9 seasons with the Chargers.
Wait, 5+ sacks?
5+, had 5 or more sacks in 8 out of 9 seasons.
Well, that's not that many.
Well,
I mean that's you're playing. What, 16, 18 regular
17 games?
17 regular season, more than 5.
I guess that's where they cut it. They cut off the point there. I don't know.
I know if you had 10+ sacks each year, but still.
Yeah. San Francisco Giants slugger Barry Bonds, who hasn't played in a major league game since 2007, said this week that he can still hit a Major League Baseball fastball, even a 100-mile-per-hour one. Now, the 60-year-old Bonds went on to say, I don't care how hard you throw it. As long as I can see it, I can hit it.
And he knows he's not going to be tried.
He's not.
Nobody's going to put him on the spot.
He knows that was all fictitious right there.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not got any of that Mike Tyson in him that he's going to try that deal.
No.
Does it count if you've had corrective eye surgery? I mean, at 111 miles an hour, those balls are moving.
You better believe it looks like an aspirin coming at you.
I think the average fastball is about 10 miles an hour faster than when he was playing.
Yeah. Well, the WNBA is planning on adding expansion teams, one of which, the Toronto Tempo, will begin play in 2026. The team announced on Monday of this week that a new name has joined the team ownership group. and that is tennis legend Serena Williams. Williams said, quote, "This moment is not just about basketball. It is about showcasing the true value and potential of female athletes."
That's Toronto?
Yeah.
Up in Canada?
Yeah.
They won't make it through half the season because they got to pay a 25% tariff every time they come into play. There's no way they're going to be able to come out of this deal. Every time they cross the border, it's going to cost them 25%.
No, wait a second. No. It'll be all right because it'll be our 51st state by the time it's.
Oh, that's
yeah. The governor would be able to. So they'll be okay.
And Greenland got a team in Greenland yet?
Not yet.
Exhibition.
They're working on it. Well, according to USA,
look at Marcus's face.
Marcus doesn't find any of that funny at all, does he? Huh?
According to USA Today, the top 10 Major League Baseball team farm systems. Now, this is rating team farm systems. Top 10 are number 10, the Cincinnati Reds. Number 9, the Cleveland Guardians. Number 8, Philadelphia Phillies. Number 7, the Tampa Bay Rays. 6, the Seattle Mariners. 5, we made the top 5, the Chicago Cubs. Number 4, the Chicago White Sox. Number 3, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 2 on the list, the Boston Red Sox. And number 1, the Detroit Tigers.
Really?
Now, these farm systems were ranked by number and quality of players sent to the majors. Who played formerly played for that team.
Gone through the farm system.
And has gone through the farm system and now, yep.
And then what you're rating is who's investing in developing their own draft picks.
Yes.
Versus who is making trades once guys get to the show.
Yeah,
that's true. Live Fast Motorsports has a new driver for their NASCAR Cup Series car. Catherine Legg.
or live fast or die fast.
Catherine Legg, 44 years old, makes her series debut this Sunday in the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway, becoming only the 17th woman ever to compete in a Cup race. Legg will pilot the number 78 Drop Light Chevrolet Camaro. Danica Patrick last drove in a Cup race in 2018, Mike.
Yeah, Legg, she's driven several Indianapolis 500s, but
she has.
This is a car of a whole different.
It is.
Whole different animal here in NASCAR.
Sure
so
is.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. On this day in sports, March 8th, 1930, slugger Babe Ruth signs a 2-year contract worth $160,000 with the New York Yankees. General manager of the Yankees, Ed Barrow, wrongly predicted no one will ever be paid more than Ruth.
Yeah.
Little mistake there, wasn't it?
I wonder what $160,000 was worth back then.
I don't know, a lot.
What would Babe be making today?
Oh, my goodness. I can't count that high. 1936, the first stock car race was held on Daytona Beach.
Yeah,
on the beach.
Used to race
on the beach.
On the
used
beach.
to race them right along the beach, and then around and back and down around the beach.
Yeah.
And,
Sure did. 1966, baseball player, manager, and coach Casey Stengel was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame on this day in 66.
Legend.
He sure was.
Legend.
Can anybody play this game?
1967, New Orleans Saints began selling season tickets. They sold, on the first day, they sold 20,000 season tickets.
All right.
Not too shabby.
No, not bad at all.
$4 a piece.
Yeah, $4 a pop.
Plus, it's on Bourbon Street, so
yeah.
you could get good rates back then. Dear.
1986, Martina Navratilova becomes the first tennis player to earn $10 million in her career.
Really?
Yeah. She was a good
That's
one.
another legend. Another legend.
1989, Roger Kingdom runs an indoor world record 60-meter hurdles. He ran that in 7.37 seconds, 60-meter hurdles.
Wow.
Let's moving on.
Yeah, that's flying.
Moving on. Birthdays, a couple of birthdays for you on this day. March 8th, 1939, Jim Bouton, pitcher, 1962 to 1970 and 1978 for the Yankees and 3 other teams. He was an All-Star in 1969, author of the book Ball 4.
Yeah, I was going to try to figure out what was he
Ball four.
Ball four was really the first book that kind of talked about behind the
Gave
scenes,
you the inside,
what was going on, and nothing had really
baseball. That's true.
Nothing had really been written about that.
Nope. Yeah. He was also a broadcaster.
Yep.
Born in Newark, New Jersey, and died in 2019.
Yeah.
Jim Bouton. 1953 birthday on this day. Jim Rice, another great baseball player. Baseball Hall of Fame left fielder.
Red Sox.
American League MVP in 1978. An 8-time All-Star.
Yep.
American League home run leader in 1977, 78, and 83 for the Boston Red Sox. Tony, you're right. Born in Anderson, South Carolina. He's 72 years old today.
Well, I tell you what, he was outstanding when he played.
Sure was.
He was great.
3 deaths of note on this day. 1998, Ray Nitschke, Pro Football Hall of Fame linebacker, 5-time NFL championship, Super Bowls 1 and 2, first team All-Pro in 1964 and 66, played for the
Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers.
Number 60.
Right. Yep.
What was his famous movie role in? The Burt Reynolds movie.
Oh, Longest Yard.
What's that?
Longest Yard.
Longest Yard.
Longest
He
Yard.
played one of the guards and linebackers.
Yeah,
that's right. He was the one that Burt Reynolds throws the ball real low as Nitschke was blitzing through the line.
Yeah.
And caught him in a real low.
Got him in a compromising position.
There was no compromise where that ball was hit.
Well, Ray died of a heart attack at 61 years old.
I tell you what, he was a great linebacker. Him and Dick Butkus were the premier middle line. Sam Alps, too, as
Absolutely. 1999 died on this day, Joe DiMaggio, Baseball Hall of Fame center fielder, 13-time All-Star. 9 times in the World Series, 3 times the American League MVP.
Yeah.
Record 56-game hitting streak for the New York Yankees. Died of lung cancer at 84.
Whatever happened to his wife?
Which one?
Let's see.
Blonde-haired lady?
Yeah.
Marilyn.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, that's true. 2022, Johnny Greer. Listen to this one now. You don't know that name probably. Johnny Greer.
Baseball.
He was a football official from 1981 to 2004. He was the first African-American referee in NFL history in 1988. Died at 74 years old. Not in 2022. Well, that's all for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by our friends at Fast Signs. I'm Donnie Moore. Back to you, Gunner.
Yeah, before we get going on some UT basketball again here, Janet Guthrie. She turned 87 last week.
Wow.
And interesting story.
Before
she drove it, she was the first woman to drive in Indianapolis.
Great driver.
That's right. That's
1977. I believe it was 1977.
I think that's right.
And Tony Holman, who was the owner of the Speedway, had always given the traditional command of "Gentlemen, start your engine."
Yes.
Well, she made the race. Well, they didn't know what he was going to say. I don't know that he really knew what he was going to say, but I think he did make the comment to a lot of people that he wasn't changing the procedure, that he was still going to go with "Gentlemen, start your engine," because that's the way it had always been done.
That's the way it's been.
Well, George Bagnotti, who was a mechanic on one of the other cars, his wife decided that wasn't going to take place either. She got with Janet Guthrie's crew and asked if she could start her car, so that he wouldn't have any choice but to alter the deal, because she, being a woman, was starting a woman's car, and to say, "Gentlemen, start your engine," she was a woman, you see. So there you go on the deal. So what he did is he said, in accompaniment with the first lady driver at Indianapolis, "Gentlemen, start your engine." And now it has gone to "Drivers, start your engine."
Yeah, right, drivers.
And then you mentioned Catherine Legg. I think that a few years ago she started on the last row, and they asked her a day or two before the race, they said, "Well, what are you going to be looking for at the start?" And she says, "I'm not going to be nervous too much." Said, I won't. And she started on the last row. She says, "I won't have to look in my rear view mirror. There's going to be nobody behind me." So anyway, but Janet Guthrie was a real pioneer. And,
she was. Absolutely.
Yeah, she drove NASCAR and drove an IndyCar and did a pretty good job, in both.
She did. She held her own very well. Absolutely.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Certainly
did a little research on Babe Ruth's salary.
Yeah.
It would be worth that $160,000 in 1930 would be worth today $3 million.
$3 million.
So he would be like a
He'd still be a bargain.
He'd be a backup player salary. Like that.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be a bargain at the day.
I am Mike Edwards, and I'm here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Carson Newman, assistant football coach Tony Ierulli, and Alcoa basketball standout Dwayne Easter. And today's a special day over at UT, and we don't have Tony White here with us.
No,
Dwayne, your buddy there, he's over there today. He's rekindling his childhood over at the ball game. Is that the best way you can describe that?
Yeah, he's going to be up in the suite and enjoying himself.
Reliving his glory days today.
Reliving his glory days.
I told him to have a good time. And hopefully he'll win.
I know he can appreciate it, but he never played in that arena. So
no, of course not.
His glory days were at a building that's no longer there.
It's gone. Yeah.
Well, it's gone. But he could go over there this morning and stand in front of it like it's still there. You know.
Yeah.
Hey,
imagine.
It is senior day over there, and they've got a lot of guys to celebrate. It's going to take a while to get through everybody. Chaz Lanier, who's a fifth-year player, will be one, and then Zakai Ziegler, what a great career he's had. Igor Milichik. He's a newcomer, but he's made an impact this year.
He sure
You
has.
got Jordan Gainey. You got Darlingstone Dubar. This is his fifth year playing college basketball, too. And then Jemai Meshak. So, Dwayne, that's pretty much the whole squad right there.
Yeah, there it is.
That don't leave a whole lot. Coach Barnes has got he can enjoy it today with these guys and enjoy the rest of the year, but he's got some work to do.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do.
Better hit that transfer portal hard, hadn't
Yeah. Marcus, if you're looking at this basketball team, if you had to pick an MVP right now, and the rest of you can chime in too, who would it be?
For an MVP, I don't think there's anybody more valuable to the team than you've got at point. So
then Z.
Yeah, you kind of got to go with him because everything goes through him, offense and defense. He is the catalyst on both ends of that, and we've seen what happens when he misses a game.
Yeah.
When he gets in foul trouble. So I think as far as value, it's him. I mean, you could if you want to count it in scoring, you could use some other criteria, but as far as the value to the team,
Probably the guy that would be next to him would be Chaz Lanier. He started off really good, Dwayne, and then he kind of leveled out, and then he's come on here strong toward the end of the year. But he doesn't do the things that Ziegler does to make this team go. He's a scorer.
He's a scorer, but he's kind of been a little bit streaky on that. He's had some games where he's hit three pretty good, and other games he's not. But Meshak, I like the way he plays hard every time. He doesn't shoot maybe as well as some of those other guys, but he'll
plays great D.
He'll give you 100%. The whole time he's out.
I would call him your grittiest player. Like your grit, he's your grit guy.
Yes,
he's doing all the little things.
Exactly that you don't really realize.
He's the guy that you're never going to criticize because he hustles and he plays that great D. He plays that great D. Doesn't matter whether he can shoot a lick or not. He plays that great D. Now it was on the other hand, and Meshak was a great offensive player, but he couldn't play defense. They'd be ripping him because he couldn't. He can shoot. He can't play any defense at all. None.
He'd be on the bench.
Defensive players don't ever get the rap as offensive players get. They're always, hey, hustler. They're the defensive guy. Man, I love that guy. They're the blue collar worker, and.
He has made some pretty good big shots though here and there, in some games.
Yeah, he made the two against Alabama.
Yeah, especially Alabama to other games too.
See, I like Ziegler because he makes better commercials. him and Mama Z. Him and Mama Z.
Hey, Dwayne, Tennessee was on the number 1 line going into the week, but they lost to Ole Miss, so I assume. I think Lenardi has got them now on the number 2 line on the NCAA tournament. But you think there's a lot of difference between 1 and 2?
It might be better for Tennessee, actually, because wouldn't they have to play out west if they'd been in? They're
going to send them probably out west to play.
I mean, if they'd been in the 1 seed, wouldn't they been out west?
I think
they
so.
would probably be,
be
in Florida's place.
It might be better that they're in the 2nd seed, maybe. It might turn out
what do you think, Marcus?
I think there's still a lot of shuffling that's going to go on. They always want to stay with what their predictions are pretty solid. But, I mean, let's face it, you still got Alabama and Auburn playing today. That's going to have an impact.
Mm-hmm.
If Florida were to slip up and lose either today if they were to lose on Thursday in the tournament, that's going to impact things. I think there's a lot of room for shuffling. If Duke were to get upset in the ACC tournament in their first game, or to lose to UNC tonight, I think you'd see some shuffling. So I think there's still a lot of things moving pieces that are going to move around over the next week. And like I said, I think moving day starts today with teams like Tennessee having to win to defend where they are, and other teams like an Ole Miss trying to get off some of those pairings that they would have right now. Because if you're Ole Miss, if you play for a win, you're a 5, and you're getting a rematch with a team that you've beaten no matter whatever happens in the top 4. If you lose, you're playing on Wednesday.
Yeah. A couple of teams to look out for, too, as we go down the stretch in the tournament play, is Michigan State. They've come on pretty strong, and they're at number 8 right now. But there's a lot of things that could happen in front of them. But I'm looking at St. John's and Rick Pitino at number 6.
Yeah.
He's within striking distance of maybe pulling. I mean, that'd be an unbelievable deal. Would that be unbelievable in the second year to pull up a number 1 seed in the tournament?
Has there been a quieter top 10 team in St. John's?
I know.
That has just not been on anybody's radar, even when they got into the top 10.
I know. I don't want to play him. No. I really don't want to play a Rick Pitino.
The thing is, how are you going to find any footage on them, because they haven't been on anything?
No.
I mean, they don't have a TV deal. They can't see them play.
And I think, Marcus, that's a good point, but I think a lot of that has to do with the Big East being down a little bit.
Well, I
Connecticut's
think so too.
Connecticut's not even top 25.
I think they've got to deal with like that Sun TV that covers the Yankees and Boston.
I watched them playing somebody that night. I can't remember who it was now.
But I mean, you don't see them. I mean, there is no Big East network that people are watching like the SEC network, and they're not on ESPN because they've got the deals covering with ACC and SEC, and you just don't see them.
Yeah. Tony, I think the basketball season, football season, it's about championships. Anytime you get a chance to win a championship, the regular season championship is over. Auburn is going to win the regular season, which I think is the toughest championship. Maybe in college that you have to win. Maybe outside of baseball, you got to play a lot of baseball games to win a championship. But in basketball, you got everybody in one division, and it's tough. Auburn's done a remarkable job to have the season that they've had. But that's over with, so you can check that off. But the SEC tournament is still there. To me, it's not as valuable as the regular season because it's a 1-week deal. But Tony, it's still a championship, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, it still is. You got, now you got them all playing each other within a couple of days. The thing is just the intensity. It just all throughout the tournament. Where's it being held at this year again?
Nashville.
Over in Nashville and all that. So like great media center. It's in the past has always been like 3 or 4 really good teams. This year it just seems like a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
So anyone, I hate to say this, just about anyone could just about win that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, from Florida to Auburn to Tennessee.
Or you can have somebody that hasn't won a lot of SEC games. You take an Oklahoma, or you take a South Carolina, or an LA, that on a given day they could upset somebody in the tournament, send them packing.
Yeah.
So, but they're playing in Nashville. You'd like to think, well, that's almost like a home game for Tennessee or Kentucky
or Vanderbilt.
So you got Nashville. I don't know. If I was some of them other schools, I'd probably be hollering to go back to Atlanta. It's a little bit more centralized and maybe get a turnout. But they like playing down there in Nashville. The NCAA tournament coming up. The only way you can win that championship is to win it all, Dwayne.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's a tougher deal.
Yeah, I hope Tennessee will start out strong, and I mean, it seems like some of their games they just don't get going early. Yeah. If they could ever get going early through the whole game.
So right now, what's your prediction seed for Tennessee?
2.
Yeah.
2 seed.
You're thinking 2?
Yeah.
For now, yeah.
I've argued this for years.
Not much time left.
And a lot of people don't see it this way. But you know, they think, well, the thing is the NCAA tournament. Being able to advance in the tournament is the epitome. It's the best thing. Tell everybody if you won an Elite Eight. Hey, listen, I'd rather have the SEC tournament championship ring on my finger. I would rather have the SEC regular season championship ring on my finger than an Elite Eight and no ring on my finger. Now, I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but there's a lot of people, a lot of guys out there think, hey, you're remembered for what you do in the tournament in March. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I think it's nice, but it's always there's not an Elite Eight championship after that. It's just Elite Eight. You understand?
Yeah.
It's not a championship. And how does everybody else feel about that? You feel differently, or
I don't. I feel kind of the same way you do, Mike. I feel like the SEC is the premier basketball league in this country, and if you're going to win a championship in the SEC, you know, you've got something to brag about.
Yeah, you've done something this year.
Plus, people forget within a couple of years. Oh, they were an Elite Eight team.
How far they got?
You know, 6-7 years ago. But they will remember. Hey, they won the SEC championship.
Yeah, I remember that year they won the championship.
Yeah,
or the year they won the tournament.
Yep.
You know, because it comes around every year, and you're in it every year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You may not be in the NCAA tournament every year.
It's going to be a trivia question. Is who was the SEC champion the year that the SEC broke the record for most teams in the NCAA tournament? Because it's going to, unless things get really nutty with some of the automatic bids and they have to expend a lot more of those on regular season champions than they're predicting, then you might see 13 SEC teams.
Out of 16?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're going to shatter that record.
Yeah, I mean,
I got to looking too, Mike. St. John's plays Marquette, ranked number 20 today at noon.
So that's a good game for them to play.
It would be a great game.
Not all the games in that league are good because Marquette's ranked, and Connecticut's still a good win to have in that league.
St. John's is 6.
Yeah, St. John's is 6, and I don't know who is it. Creighton's in that league too. I don't know whether I know they've got a pretty good team, but they're not ranked right now. So there's only in the Big East, there's only 2 teams ranked, and that's St. John's and Marquette right now.
Yeah.
So there you go. You got the
and
two.
They're going head to head today.
You got the 2 highest rated teams right there. So you know if they happen to win the Big East tournament, you know they could slip in there to
yes, they could.
It would be great if it would be they match up in the tournament. St. John's against Arkansas. You get Patino against
Cal.
Yeah.
Or
Patino against Kentucky.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That'd be a good game.
Either way,
Patino gets one of the top 4 bids, and Kentucky's they're playing. And then in the second game or so, Kentucky wins. They meet St. John's.
Oh, everyone would be watching that one.
And you know what? Those guys that are doing this tournament, you don't think they don't look at those matchups? Don't you think? So you're looking at those things and you're saying, boy, that's kind of a coincidence that they put those 2 teams right there.
It's amazing how that worked out sometimes.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of that goes on.
Guaranteed it does.
Yeah. Hey, it's time for a break. When we return, we'll be back to close out today's show. You're listening to the GoTeez sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here along with Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Coach Tony Ierulli and Dwayne Easter. And we mentioned Tennessee and Joe Lenardi's picks for the NCAA tournament. They've got Tennessee playing in Lexington, that first game up in Kentucky. Well, that's going to be a packed UT house up there, and that's not very far to go for UT fans. Got them playing Norfolk State, and then they would play the winner of the BYU and New Mexico game. That would be no small chore. Brigham Young is ranked in the top 25, Dwayne. So
yeah,
that would be a game you'd have to have a little bit of concern about. And of course, we talked about the show before the show, and these different leagues, they play different styles, and you haven't been used to playing those styles where you've been used to playing teams in the Southeastern Conference, and sometimes that can work against you a little bit.
Yeah, if you've not seen these guys play very, much even on TV, it'd definitely be different. What's funny about SEC is it's always Kentucky. It's like, are they going to win this year? It's changed in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You don't hear much about them anymore, but used to, there was always like number 1 or 2 team at SEC for a championship, but things have changed. But yeah, UT, I mean, this is it now. It's the time of the season. You're going to have to get serious, play hard, and start out early. Scoring and defense. I mean.
Yeah.
Don't go through a stretch of 6 or 7 minutes where you didn't do nothing.
Yeah, you got to get out of the gate early.
Get out of the gate early and put the other guys,
on the defensive.
On the defensive.
Yeah, definitely.
That's driving me crazy. It seems like every game they do that.
Tony, there's always this concern when you're playing, especially this year in the Southeastern Conference, and you go into that tournament next week, and you know that every one of those teams are tough teams, and every game you could lose and you could be out. If you're going for that championship, you got to play some games, and there's some wear and tear on you.
Sure.
And then you've got the NCAA coming around right after that. I don't know what effect that's going to have on you either.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the strength of the SEC from top to bottom. I mean, there's really
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, there's really no gimme games. I mean, you expect if you're like a 1 or 2 seed, you kind of cruise maybe the first and second round until you got into the semifinals or finals.
Yeah.
But nowadays,
no time to snooze.
The good thing about it is that they've beaten each other up now for about 3 months. They've only got 1 week to beat each other up in this tournament. So
that's true.
It's not going to be near as painful, so to speak. But on the number 1 seeds, Lenardi's got Duke, Houston, Auburn, and Florida. I think it's going to be awful hard to move Duke out of there.
It will.
And Auburn, I really think Auburn's, based on what they've done, they've won the Southeastern Conference. I think it's going to be really hard to move them out. And
what's Houston ranked right now?
Houston is ranked. They are ranked number 3 right now, but they've had some close encounters.
Yeah, they have.
Houston's had, and they could lose. They've been on the borderline. And Florida. I really like Florida. I like their inside. I like their guard.
Play,
but I'm not quite married to them yet. Because they went into Georgia and was down 20-some points and lost to Georgia at Georgia.
Yeah.
On one of those nights that anybody can beat you. So I'm not really so sure about them. But they're going to be a 1 or 2. Florida's going to be a 1 or 2. There's
How
no
often
doubt about
has SEC has had the 2 teams in the top 4? Does that happen very often?
Ooh, well,
I mean, if you go back and think about it,
I imagine
what
it
a
hasn't
rarity that
happened
is.
real often.
Yeah,
That's a good trivia question.
All right, for next week. Mike's already looked right at it.
Yeah, you're looking at top 10. You got Auburn, you got Tennessee, you got Florida, you got Alabama. That's four of the top 10 in the country.
You're talking about basketball, not football, right?
Yeah. Okay. Talking about basketball. Talking about basketball and
that's impressive.
It's amazing now how the dynamics have really changed.
And then in Lenardi's picks, he's got going in. He's got 12 SEC teams in the tournament. Some think that there's possibility of 13 can get in. 11 Big Ten schools, 8 in the Big 12. The Big East has got 4, Mountain West 4, ACC. That really blows my mind because back in my day, the ACC was the premier basketball league with their tournament at the end, and I mean it was the league, so to speak. And then the WCC's got 2 teams in there. And the first 4 out, he's got Oklahoma, Texas, Xavier, and North Carolina. And you know that it's going to be tough on those schools getting in, but Oklahoma and Texas could be that 13th team that could get in there.
Yeah.
Both of those teams are, I don't know, if they go to the NIT, they're going to be pretty strong teams in the NIT based on what they've done.
Yeah.
If they take the bid and they go on. Dwayne, do you think Tennessee's playing their best basketball right now? I think they're playing as good right now as they've played at any point in the year.
To be honest with you, no, I don't. I don't know if they're a little bit tired, like you say, Ziegler. He's played a lot of minutes. It just seems
he really
like,
has, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's affected his legs a little bit. Hopefully, maybe they'll get a little rest. But yeah, I mean they're going to have to play, of course, really good defense. But they need to come out early. We've said this time and time again, and not have a stretch of 6 or 7 minutes where you don't do anything, and the other team, creates a lead on you, and you have to play catch up.
Yeah. I think they're just having a difficult time playing 2 or 3 games, good games in a row. Right
Yeah,
and I think that part of it has to do with
legs.
I'm a little concerned on their inside. They're scoring; they're getting outscored in the paint.
Yes,
like
they are.
42-26. Yeah. And if you're not scoring in the paint, and I'm not real sold on their 3-point shooting. From the outside, they're real streaky on that.
Yeah,
you're basically with those 2 deficiencies, you're kind of hanging your head on the defense.
Yeah, just winning games with defense.
You're just winning games with defense and character more than anything else.
But the way
not turning the ball over, which they don't do. They don't turn it over.
Yeah,
much.
and Ole Miss, the way they scored on us down low, it's like wow. I mean, they're just
they ate a clock.
That concerned me.
And what put us out of the tournament last year? A team that outplayed us down low in Purdue.
Yeah,
with their big man. True. They beat us down low.
And that's what happened with Ole Miss.
Yeah. Well, we got South Carolina today. Sit back and enjoy the game. If you're watching it on TV, fix you some popcorn or some hot dogs. Get you some potato chips out there. Lean back. It's not going to be a struggle today. Watch them give out all the awards to the seniors and wish Tony White a good day over there to see him play. Is he in the suites today?
He's in the suites, and
I
think he's going early, and they're going to have something.
I'll tell you what.
Tell him bring back some snacks for us.
I hope he's back. We got royalty on this show. We got a guy that he goes over there. He don't have Bob Uecker seats. He's in the daggum suites, huh? If we ask him for tickets, we'll be on the last row, Tony, won't we? Huh? Yeah, get us some tickets, Tony. He'll be in the suites. We'll be up on the last row. Yeah, well. Hopefully he'll be back to visit with us next week.
He should be back next week.
Unless he's going down there to Nashville. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Donnie, you ready with that whistle?
I'm ready.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. It's been a great
good day.
Had a lot of fun. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host of Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Tony Ierulli, and Dwayne Easter, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield
and Marcus.
Gunner. And Marcus. Don't leave Marcus out. Wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.